All right, greetings. Welcome back to Blackburn News, where everything is connected. Pretty sure my mic is connected. I remembered to turn it back on today. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for being here. Just want to jump right into a whole bunch of things today. And we're going to talk a lot about Trump and the obvious campaign promises that he's currently rapidly breaking one by one. We're gonna talk a lot about Trump, and because because the Democrats barely put up a fight. Or maybe they intended to lose. There's a lot of people that think that is what they did, because they didn't really, you put in a quarterback who's never won a game to replace your aging quarterback who's fumbling every play, and you think you're going to win. Why would you think that? So, anyways. Absolutely, Bella. Trump has little chance of succeeding. No, I mean, I think, well, he's going to break all the promises, and he's not going to really, and he's probably going to make things worse. I mean, everybody, it sucks because this is where we're at. We got the choice between shit and cyanide, and we're asking people, well, I guess cyanide is worse than shit. You can live through shit. I don't know. I don't know what the analogy is, but our choices were, rat poison and something else. Drinking rat poison or bleach. I don't know. One of the two. I'm trying to think of an analogy. My brain's not working right now. Yeah, and most likely Trump is here to manage us through a huge financial collapse and or restructuring of our financial system. And it probably won't be pretty. We'll see. All of these things are as yet to have been, proven out or borne out. But it's not going to be, it's not going to be great. Trump is a tool. Trump is a tool. Trump is just the face of empire, just like Biden was. There's no difference. So I don't, and if you believe that the people that are really in charge get the candidate that they want, then you really don't, you don't have a lot of control over it unless you're really, unless you are opposing the system in another way, unless you are taking yourself out of the system. I don't know. There's several ways to, I guess, try and get yourself out of the system, or not be a part of the system, or protest the system. There are several, things you could do or not do. I don't know. I think I've just, over the last few days and the last week, I've just been pointing out, the Democrats' obvious failing, and that's what you get when you don't plan for when you think that the other team is going to lose. because they're bad and you assume they're going to lose and you don't prepare, well, then you're going to, and when you lose, you shouldn't be surprised. You shouldn't be surprised. But anyways, that's all. That's all water under the bridge at this point. Although there are there are a few months before Trump is sworn in, so who knows what things will be or they have planned to do between now and January 6th. Who knows? Or 5th or whatever the day is supposed to be. Well, let's get into it. There's so much to cover. There's actually another hurricane brewing in the Gulf. Yet another large hurricane brewing. See if I can find it here. So we may get another slap from Mother Nature. Unfortunately, we'll see. We don't know. The GFS ensembles, Euro and Korean models all came together for one of the most aggressive day 8 major hurricane signals that you will ever see, and they did it on November freaking 12th. This is beyond unbelievable. So I guess this is showing that there is a major hurricane brewing. Oh my God, come on now. That's not what I was trying to do. Icon models, throw in an icon for good measure. So it is, hurricane season is supposed to be over now. And this is supposed to be a major hurricane hitting after the end of hurricane season. So again, climate change giveth. One more time. And, yes, that is what's happening. It's not anything else. Well, let me back up a little bit. Could be something else, but it's doubtful. I will always give at least a little room for skepticism on that end, but I mean, let's not cherry pick the weather events. Right. All right, let's keep it moving. I'm moving kind of slow. I don't know why. But I have a lot of posts to get through today, so I'm going to try and do some rapid fire through all these posts, and then we'll get to some. I'll read a bunch of your chats towards the latter part of the show. Okay. From Roger Hallam, Harvard predicts permanent war. Well, yeah, or makes an analogy for permanent war. Economists at Harvard, who presumably know what they are talking about, have finally woken up to the fact that destroying the economy means the economy gets destroyed. Meaning there is not some supernatural separation between, climate change out there in the natural world and the real manly world of getting on and making good money. A 3C temperature increase will cause precipitous declines in output. 3C. Didn't I hear somebody or a few people say at 3C we are functionally extinct? So I don't know about, is there any economic output period at 3C? I don't think so. I think there's hanging on in a cave at 3C, but what do I know? A 3C temperature increase will cause precipitous declines in output, capital, and consumption that exceed 50% by 2100, the paper states. Again, 2100 is the magical day that's so far off in the future that nobody, seems to think that they need to think about it. Stuff like that. What's up, Rockfin people? I see you watching. Don't see any chatters there. Rumble people, see you watching. Don't see any chatters there. But that's... anyways, I'm trying to keep reading. These magnitudes are comparable to the economic damage caused by fighting a war domestically and permanently. is what the point of what they're saying is. So the war goes on for 100,000 years, give or take. Of course, main takeaway: you are not going to get your pension. Social revolution is inevitable. Then we will see if humanity wants to survive, whether we opt for mass death of fascism or pull ourselves together to survive. Care to survive. Well, I don't know. What saith you? What saith the audience? Do you think we're going to survive? Is this the correct message even from Roger Hallam? I don't know. I mean, maybe we have a lot of heating in the pipeline. We have a lot of masking that is being masked. And if it's unmasked, who knows? I mean, all of the masking stuff and the heat, all that is theoretical on some levels, right? But there's solid evidence for it. I'm not of the mind of Michael Mann that if emissions go to zero, that the heating stops immediately. But I do think if we stopped destroying the planet day after day, hand over fist, 24 hours a day, 24/7 on a global scale, Earth systems might bounce back in a genuine way. Who knows? We've done a lot of damage, and we've put a lot of emissions into the air already, and so there's a reckoning for that. You're good going south. There's no I'm not sure of what you refer to, but you're good, man. I see your chats. Well, anyways, I would guess. Well, where are we now? Where are we supposed to be now? I mean, on a realistic level, are we at 1.6? 1.5, 1.6, 1.65. Some people say, I mean, John Glad says we passed 3.5 C years ago. Where are we now, like on an official, I guess we're 1.6. And by official, I mean like a consensus by many people who are watching climate change and are willing to be realistic about it, not the official narrative, Newsweek, or Paris Agreement, well, there's still time to stay below 1.5. No, there is no time for that. No time for that. There's no time to stay below 1.5. That's already done. So the consensus between people who are actually going to be realistic about where we are at right now, and I would guess that they would all concur that we're about 1.6 or 1.7, somewhere in there. So if we see this kind of like catastrophic weather events happening all the freaking time, what happens when it's 2 or 2.5? How long is civilization sustainable with these kinds of, like, with this constant onslaught of unpredictable weathers. Is civilization functionally, not working at 2C or 2.5? You think we're going to make it to 3 and not be living in small colonies, on some level, trying to grow food and stay alive, growing food in, super reinforced greenhouses or whatever, or underground or something? I don't know. But scary enough. I really like this post, and just reading it because I really like it. I don't even know who this. I don't think I've ever seen this guy on Twitter, Michael EV Knight. Someone posted, "There is nothing the remotest bit natural about capitalism. The bees are not stockpiling honey to sell at a profit. The trees are not charging the bees to build their hive. The soil is not leasing itself to the flowers. The sun is not sending bills to them all. None of these beings are trying to seek some kind of predatory advantage from the next. They are merely supporting one another. That is their nature." Indeed. And try and tell humans that they should coexist in something of the same capacity with other beings, as in supporting and not destroying by taking everything that they possibly can in. I mean, you all know the Lorax. The story of the Lorax is a great one. Oh, Wendy, thank you for clarifying that. 1.5 degrees Celsius since the year 1900, 2.5 degrees since the year 1500. Okay. Yeah, I mean, maybe is that due to climate change? I personally, I just don't think we were that impactful between 1500 and 1900. Maybe on a small level, maybe on a little level, but I mean, that on that long of a timeline, I feel like some of that is natural variables. There is natural variables until you get to about 1850, 1900. But it only took us 100 years to really just take the bat to the planet, and that's what we've been doing for at least 100 years, taking the bat to the planet. You may disagree. That's okay. I just feel like sure, we were doing pre-industrial or leading up to industrial type stuff way back when, but I mean, I think it was still negligible to the point of nature being able to compensate for what we were doing. If you're talking about purely emissions, again, I don't know about that, but discuss. I'm willing to discuss, debate, and listen. Let's see. Let's keep going. It's from Adam McKay. What? I didn't know Adam was so woke, but that's cool. Appreciating Adam McKay and his generally good takes about the political system and how it relates to climate change. Trump is foul, but Biden refused to declare a climate emergency then lied on TV and said that he did. He did that. He did that. So there are liars everywhere. Liars everywhere. Trump is not the only and the worst liar. They're all. Biden is pretty bad when it comes to lying. You know, he got kicked out of a presidential campaign for plagiarism. That's tantamount to lying. So liars to the left of me, liars to the right of me. And Trump is a really bad liar. Trump is a terrible liar. But don't let that steer you away from actually looking at other people who are lying, right? You can't let him suck all the oxygen out of the room. You know, share the crappiness of all of these ghouls that seek to rule over us. They are no different. There is none worse than the other, unless you were talking about people who are truly trying to fight the good fight and being on. And there are very few of those, and they usually don't make it very close to the actual levers of power. But there are a few. But when you're talking about the people that are on the tippy top, ain't no difference. Ain't no difference. Ain't no difference in fascism, lying, anything. Corruption, sexual proclivities. Ain't no difference. So it's right. Anyways, he said this is that he lied on TV and said he did approved more oil drilling leases than Trump. True story. Said COVID was over. Well, okay, I'm not even going to get into that, but whatever. COVID was over, bro, and is blank checking ethnic cleansing in Gaza. True story. This is a two-party scam. This two-party scam is what we need to look up from. It's killing us. Well, yeah. And he's retweeting somebody that's, blaming Americans for voting for Donald Trump. That's not who you need to blame. Stop blaming people for looking out for their, immediate, thinking that they're looking out for their immediate interests. That's what they're doing. They're not. Blame the people that gave you that delivered this unto you. But whatever. Well, that's just going to keep on happening. Because, smart, supposedly smart people acting dumb or gaslighting you is the name of the game. All right. So, Trump has already running down the field with the football of neocon swamp creatures towards neocon swamp creatures. He's running with the football down the field towards his neocon swamp creatures. Hold on. I'll go back to that chat in a little bit, Delene, but I didn't hear that. But let's talk about it in a sec. So Trump plans to appoint neocon Marco Rubio as U.S. Secretary of State. Again, it seems like, and this is not my not necessarily my specific words, but who was it? Somebody said, all you need to get into Trump's cabinet is to have called him Hitler in the past, right? Or J.D. Vance even called him Hitler, or said he wasn't, he didn't like him. And now he's the vice president. And everybody, Marco Rubio is criticized Trump vehemently, and now he's going to be Secretary of State. Anyways, Rubio's an extreme warmonger. He supported wars on Libya and Syria, is as pro-Israel as it gets, is extremely aggressive against China, Russia, and Iran, backed many coups in Latin America. Is Trump looking very dead-eyed and soulless right there? I did. Now, somebody did question whether he was actually named, and this is all over Twitter, right? So many people have already remarked on this and posted this, and pretty good journalists. And like, I'm not talking about just random. This is Ben Norton, and I think I've seen Michael Tracy talking about it too. So I don't think these guys would report this if it wasn't true, but I don't know if there's been an official statement about him. Somebody said there's been no official statement, but we'll see. Hold on one second. See if I can find it, but from the New York Times, Trump expected to name Marco Rubio as Secretary of State. So I guess that's, New York Times is reporting on it. So I guess that adds a little bit of weight behind it. Sorry, let's keep going. Oh, well, anyways. Oh, and this is from Yahoo News. So, again, it doesn't mean like it's a lock, but I mean, it's from Yahoo News. I don't think Yahoo News would report it if it wasn't, true, kind of true. Although, of course, we know how they like to report on things that are not true. So I say that knowing there's a lot of irony in that statement. Anyways, let's see. Anya Parampel talks about Marco Rubio being a shady character. My book, Corporate Coup, Venezuela and the End of U.S. Empire, details the shady character of Trump's pick for Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. Did you know he fabricated his family history and once lived in one of Miami's most notorious cocaine dens, which his brother-in-law operated as a drug lord? I didn't know that. Did you know that? Donald Trump has reportedly selected Kristi Noem to serve as DHS secretary. It's from Max Blumenthal. In March, Noem introduced a bill cracking down on criticism of Israel on the grounds of ensuring the security of God's chosen people. Yikes. That is really interesting. My God. Again, Trump said at one point that he was down for rounding up people who are anti-Semitic and doing what with them, I don't know. I don't know. But that is frightening. Mike Waltz is going to be the incoming national security advisor. Also, super neoconic. Mike Waltz, the incoming national security advisor, worked for Donald Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney. It doesn't get any more neocon than that. This is like the pinnacle. These guys are the architects. The A-team that gave us 9/11, the Iraq War, the Afghanistan War, and the Patriot Act, and other really beautiful things that we still all cherish in our lives. Remember like a week ago when everybody was absolutely convinced there was some giant ideological chasm between Trump and the Cheneys? There is not. He was well, anyways, he's just showing that he worked with Cheney. Sorry. That was it. That was it. Let's see. Let's keep going. So many links here today. Trying to get through them all. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Thank you for being here. Here's another. This is on Mike Waltz. Oh, did we? Again, more on Mike Waltz. Of the self-declared MAGA Republicans who voted to renew FISA warrantless surveillance, Mike Waltz is one of them. Trump has already picked two of them, Elise Stefanik and Mike Waltz, for senior level administration positions. Elise Stefanik. Also a big part of his campaign was that he just say in his how he's going to drain the swamp and make America great, that little video that I played the other day. Didn't he say something about the FISA courts, that he was going to make them, overhaul them or make them better? But these guys voted to renew FISA warrantless surveillance. Anyways. Let's keep going. This is not, I'm just painting the picture here that, no, it's not good. It is not a good thing that we have Donald Trump. It is not a good thing that, everything the Democrats did, steered the entire population towards Donald Trump. Because again, those are our only two choices. And no, Harris wouldn't have been better. Harris would have pretty much done exactly the same things. There still would have been a genocide going on. And, on and on and on, right? She wouldn't have changed anything for the better. It would have been more of the same. With, a little bit of slightly different window dressing here and there, but, mostly same things going forward. But the ridiculousness of this is that, you've made promises and you've outlined this, particular vision of to your base, and you're backpedaling on that vision almost immediately. And I wonder how the base is already feeling at this moment. I wonder if the base is gonna effectively protest any of this stuff, along with everybody else who should be protesting this stuff, along with everybody else who should be resisting, protesting, and or thinking on actually putting things forward that might help the American public, as opposed to the corporate controllers, right? And that's a much deeper problem and a much bigger problem to solve than, punching a button 4 years from now, punching a button for another person, another corporate candidate. Like, you can't wait that long. You got to do something in between now and then, because we're going to get another corporate candidate then, and then we're going to be given the same choices. Most important election of our lifetime. Anyways. Let's keep going. He has another pick. Let's see. Whitney Webb outlines this on another of one of Trump's cabinet picks. Trump picks Lee Zeldon to lead the EPA. Excuse me. Sorry. This narrative that Zeldon is a climate change denier isn't actually true. I guess he was a climate change denier. Isn't actually true, at least not anymore. Zeldon changed his stance when he joined the Conservative Climate Caucus not too long ago. To join that group of congressmen, you agree to subscribe to the official narrative of climate change, TM. The caucus also participates annually in UN climate change conferences. Zeldon is now also part of the Bipartisan Climate Solutions Caucus. Wow. Well, he's a Republican that takes climate change seriously. However, this doesn't mean anything because they're not really, the intent is not to take climate change seriously. You understand that. Also, that caucus supports carbon pricing. That's what they're into. Carbon pricing, i.e., putting a price on carbon. Promotes carbon sequestration, like big Trump backer Elon Musk, and wants big oil and big gas to lead on curbing emissions. Slap knee, guffaw, whatever you like to do. Insert chuckle there. Not many people seem to be aware that some of the main big oil and big gas companies are major advocates for a carbon tax and carbon emissions trading, something that Trump transition chair Howard Lutnick's firm Cantor Fitzgerald is also deeply involved in. Several of the oil and gas companies that backed Trump vocally this cycle, like Occidental Petroleum, are deeply invested in net zero and climate finance. Which is hilarious. It means something completely different when these people are talking about it. It doesn't mean net zero or helping the planet or saving the planet or doing healthy things for the planet. It means nothing like that. Being pro big oil and big gas does not mean that they are against carbon pricing, carbon taxes, carbon markets. It's really quite the opposite at this point. Many of these market-based climate solutions are problematic. And in the case of carbon markets, rife with criminality and scams. And we know that, right? A lot of these carbon offsetting schemes are absolutely bonkers and it's totally corrupt. Most of them don't work. Most of them are money laundering schemes and scams. All right. As I recently wrote, a carbon market is looking increasingly likely under a new Trump administration, and Zeldon's appointment seems to point to that as well. And I wonder if Trump brought forward a carbon market, I wonder how many of the establishment climate change folks, the Bill McKibbins and the Michael Manns, would cheer this, would be like, yes, Trump doing it for the people. I'm sure they will be. You mark my words. So that is, interesting. All right, and also talk about and concern, and we talked about this, a couple days ago, about how the border wall. Trump was super into the wall. His first, the wall. We're going to build a beautiful wall, and they actually, so they kind of ditched the physical wall. They ditched the physical wall for a smart wall, like a biometric, right? And so Trump has been a big supporter and proponent of a biometric. Remember the biometric concentration camps in Gaza? But he's a big supporter of biometric, like in and out, right? Let's read about this because I'm just not really. Where is it? God dang it! It's here somewhere. My God. Let me try and get to the right page. Here we go. Biometric entry and exit is what I guess I was trying to go for. Yeah, so what they want is a smart wall, a quote unquote smart wall, where you have like, you know, facial recognition, eye scanning, and all that kind of good stuff, right? And this is what he's a proponent of. Beware Trump's proposed biometric entry exit scam. Today it's entry and exit. Tomorrow it's checkpoints, facial recognition, and geofencing, with government authorities holding full control over who moves and who doesn't. We will finally complete the biometric entry exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately. This is Trump speaking. It will be on land, sea, and air. We will have a proper tracking system. To those concerned with illegal immigration, this may sound appealing. It's more dangerous than you could ever imagine. This kind of system is surveillance, a surveillance state's dream come true. A tool of unprecedented power that makes every movement, every entry, and every exit trackable and traceable. The danger here is the normalization of constant monitoring, where every citizen, under the guise of safety, becomes a data point in a sprawling digital net. The biometric tracking is the first step towards a society where privacy is a relic of the past and freedom of movement can be restricted at the push of a button. Today is entry and exit. Tomorrow it's checkpoints, facial recognition, and geofencing. Once these tools are embedded into everyday life, they're nearly impossible to roll back. The terrifying truth is that a biometric system on this scale lays the groundwork for a future where you're not just tracked, but managed, where your freedom isn't a right, but a privilege granted by a system watching your every move. You shouldn't be lulled into compliance because this is introduced in the name of border security or by a figure you may support. The system, once established, will serve whatever regime is in power, make every future leader a potential warden of a digital prison. Which we already have the very, you know, the first evidences of, right? We have, I mean, they're tracking your phone, they're tracking your movements, your computer, your car, wherever you're going. They know where you're going, they know where you've been. The geolocation thing is already happening. Like, they're listening to everything you say on your phone for the purposes of advertising to you, but if you know they're listening to everything you say on your phone, that's being scooped up as well for other purposes, etc. They're they're watching your social media posts. They're, tracking what you like, what you look at, what you spend the most time looking at. They have access to your cameras. They can see you if they want to, etc., etc. They're already, all of these things are already in place. And what eventually, and a lot of people, including Whitney Webb, have warned that Trump is going to be the one that brings this in. Is just a much bigger step towards this control grid, digital control grid, right? All right, well, almost through these links, I think. No, I gotta hurry up. I must hurry. I really wish Brave would quit popping my browser out of place. This is the same thing? Is this the same thing? Something of the same thing. I think it's Whitney Webb again. No, high impact flicks. Oh, he's quoting Donald Trump. We will finally complete the biometric entry exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately. We will ensure the system is in place. It will be on land. It will be on sea. It will be in the air. We will have a proper tracking system, he says. And a little bit deeper into the rabbit hole on some of Trump's friends, the fact that a former Clinton mega donor whose New York City townhouse shared a wall with Jeffrey Epstein's home is now running Trump's transition team is really starting to show. Howard Letnick, Trump transition chairman Howard Lutnick, who accompanied the candidate and Ben Shapiro to a tunnel-building Shabbat cult yesterday, is a former Clinton donor whose townhouse borders Jeffrey Epstein's New York City perv den. Can't make this stuff up. Again, they're all buddies. All of them. Clinton, Epstein, Trump, they're all buddies. Both sides, they're all buddies. You understand? Sorry, didn't need to hear me say that again. Anyways, that is concerning, isn't it? It makes you want to know more about Howard Lutnick, right? And what's going on with that dude? What's going on with a certain Howard Lutnick? Before I play this, quickly, if you enjoy the show and you want the show to keep going, and holy smokes, I really need your help in keeping the show going and being able to carve away the time to do the show, because it's getting serious and real out here. If you like the show coming to you for free every single day, Monday through Friday, and sometimes on the weekends, there are a bunch of direct donation links in the description box. And if you are moved to support the show, I really appreciate it. There's a bunch of ways to do it: Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Coffees, Buy Me a Coffee, Ko-Fi, Zelle, etc. Those are the best ways to support the show. The other way, tipping on Rockfin is, they really, really take such a huge chunk that they're basically taking a bunch of money from you and from me. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense to tip on any of the platforms. They just chew a big chunk away of your money. They tax you immediately 30% or 40% of the money you give, and then I get very little of that, and then it takes me a really long time to get that. So it's just not really like, I appreciate it, but it's not really super helpful because I get so little of it, and it takes so long to get it. So the best ways to support the channel are in the direct donation links. Okay. Well, Theo Von and Joe Rogan talk about the criminal murders of the Sackler family. Has anybody watched that Netflix documentary? It's pretty good. They remain billionaires. It's impossible not to understand the death of the carefully scripted corporate captured legacy media, where real conversations on any topic are completely prohibited. They're talking about, the funding of corporate media by these pharmaceutical companies. That's what they're hinting at. All right, let's listen to this.
How about we prosecute that fucking Sackler family that fucking killed hundreds of thousands of people in our country? How about that?
Yeah.
How about that?
Well, you saw the whole thing where they were trying to buy immunity.
Huh?
They were trying to buy immunity. They were going to have like a settlement where they would give X amount of bills on that after the Netflix documentary came out.
Wow.
And we talked about it once, but I don't know where it's at now. But that family, they made billions of dollars by getting people hooked on opioids.
This family is mass murderers.
Yeah.
If anybody with the last name, they should, kick that gene pool out of our fucking country. Those people are fucking murderers, dude. I think a lot of people still haven't gotten over that shit.
And do you know that was the same family that was involved in Valium?
Yeah, I do know that.
Mother's Little Helper, that was Valium.
Right. And going back to the biometric entry exit idea, this is Australia. They're talking about a digital ID and how they're going to kind of implement it or backdoor it. And this is basically what they're talking about, is that they're going to make, they're going to have to verify kids, being online, verify their age and have a way to verify their age so that they will have this like digital ID for kids, right? And as they're talking about it, he's saying, well, if we have the digital ID for kids and we need to verify their age, we're going to have that for everyone else too. So that's, I guess they're talking about a proposed way to kind of institute this digital ID for your safety, of course, and having it be centered around kids, which I totally understand, but you don't need to make everybody have a digital ID. It's what, but let's listen to this.
Of course, if you're testing to see if someone's 13 or 14 or 15 or 16, you're also testing to see, by definition, if they're 16 plus. So that if there's going to be age verification, everybody is going to have to go through an age verification process, won't they?
Yes.
Yes. So this isn't just about the privacy or collecting data about kids. This is literally everybody accessing social media. That's how it has to work, isn't it?
Yes. Senator Shoebridge, you just used the term age verification. You may not have been in the room when we had a discussion about the distinction between age verification and age assurance. This is an age assurance trial.
This is, if you're going to have age assurance for kids.
That's it. That was funny. We're not talking about age verification. We're talking about age assurance. Oh, that's different. What? Well, we're just assuring that somebody is a certain age. Well, isn't that the same as verification? No, totally different. Okay. Thanks. These people are wild. Lots of talk about how much money the Harris campaign spent, which actually really is eyebrow raising how much money they spent. Kamala Harris's campaign reportedly spent $582 million on staff, while Donald Trump spent only $10 million. That is, can you think about the difference is wild. And this is why I say everything is a money laundering scam. Like $582 million, that's $500 million. That's a money laundering scam. Somebody sucked all that money up because nothing costs $582 million. Nothing, a presidential campaign does not cost $500 million. No. What could possibly cost that much money? Even if you're buying like TV ads every night of the week for, a month, a few $1 million, but no, not half a billion. And especially if Donald Trump spent $10 million, which sounds about right for paying a staff for a campaign, and think about how long his campaign was going on, how long her campaign was going on. So where did all that money go? Apparently they hired, and apparently they're in debt too. Apparently they hired, a lot of those musicians to do shows and or endorse. Apparently Oprah Winfrey got paid to endorse. The Cardi B thing, which she got paid like $2 million to show up. There are rumors about Beyonce being paid to show up, which makes you wonder about you got to pay people to support you. I don't know. It's wild. Yeah, they said a lot of the money went to digital and ads and TV spending. And I wondered about that too, because I saw so many fairly famous people, influencers, if you will, but people that are in the entertainment industry who are on my timeline in like Instagram, like promoting Kamala Harris. And I was like, are you really promoting her? Are you promoting her because you believe in the campaign, or are you getting a kickback for this? Are you getting promised? And I'm positive some of those people got some money for that, which I think is, should carry some kind of disclaimer. This is paid funding for the Harris campaign or whatever, but same goes for Trump. But man, and apparently like the people her campaign staff are complaining they didn't get their last paycheck. You know, there are a lot of rumors going around. These are all, you know, some of these things are rumors. You know, apparently they're in debt, $20 million in debt. They're trying to fundraise. It's like you're fundraising. You're fundraising. Anyways. That is wild, though. And last thing. This is the last thing. It's more on the some of the rumors, but you know, maybe you might want to, if it's in Newsweek, they're trying to kind of fact check this. But did Democrats spend $1 billion during the election? Is Kamala Harris's campaign $20 million in debt? They're saying we don't know. We don't know, but it could be. Somebody in the DNC said Harris's campaign was $20 or $18 million in debt. Wow. But you spent $500 million? Was Beyonce paid $10 million? Did Kamala Harris spend $450 a day on Las Vegas Sphere ad? $450,000 a day. Wow. Okay. That's wild. Personally, money laundering. That's what it was. Straight up. I mean, none of those things could cost that much money. So that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. So there was a lot of pocket lining going on with that money, I'm sure. I'm positive. Let's see. All right, guys. Let's see. I'm looking at the chats a little bit here. Zeldon wants the carbon capture, which is bullshit science. Oh yeah, it's absolutely. It doesn't. Carbon capture is like fusion energy. It doesn't exist. I mean, it doesn't really exist in a workable way. Yes, you can capture carbon, but is the carbon you have to burn in order to run the carbon capture machine even offsetting, right? Does the carbon you capture offset even the carbon you're burning to run the machine? And if it doesn't, then there's no point in doing it. You know, everybody's been, you know, over the last few years talking about, oh, you know, we're going to have fusion reactors soon, and that's going to, they don't exist in a workable, that technology does not exist in a workable way. So, you know, whenever it starts working, then talk to me about it. I don't know. Okay, so and Deline said something about oh yeah, no, actually I think I remember seeing that, Deline, about Trump saying that it wasn't global warming, it was nuclear warming. I mean, I don't know. Nuclear warming? What? From running nuclear power or nuclear fallout, or from I don't really understand. And what difference does it make? I guess it could make some difference, but I mean, it's an interesting thing to say. Let's see. Wendy DeLee says 2024 will likely set a new record for average daily liquid fuels production, a little over 100 million barrels per day. 9/11 Leonard cold fusion Israeli weapons. Yeah. Bella says we will be extinct before the next election. Is Boebert? Did somebody say he's appointing Boebert to some position? Gene Whitworth says carbon capture should consist of creating a garden planet. Yes, yes, yes. Just yeah, Denver. I'm guessing you already know what that the answer to the Sackler question. I'm guessing we already know that. What is Jewish for 300, Alex? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. I'm just looking back through some of these comments. Oh, somebody was playing. Are you guys familiar with Rebecca Roth? I don't know. If you guys want a good 9/11 investigator, Rebecca Roth. I think it was Sam Tripoli was playing Rebecca Roth's one of Rebecca Roth's videos about 9/11, and she's great. She's actually one of the best investigators out there, and not a lot of people talk about her, which is interesting. I don't hear her name mentioned much in 9/11 truth circles, but like she's you know, she's really laying out some deep stuff there. Let's see. He has a monetary mind. What? The Boebert thing was in a post I showed? Really? Hold on. Sorry. Sorry if I completely like. Where was what? Yeah. Help. Oh, with Marco Rubio. Ruber. 9/11 methodical illusion. Yeah, that's the Rebecca Roth video or book, right? She has a book out. She has several books out. Well, okay. Deline, what do you think about his statement? Do you think that's true? It's nuclear warming. I'm guessing you do think that it's nuclear warming, or what? Or are you skeptical of that claim? I'm not sure. It's called money laundering. Yes. I mean, I feel like the entire Biden campaign, the entire Biden administration was absolutely a money laundering operation. And it was always 10% for the big guy. Let's see. All right. Well, just checking to see if I have gotten anybody to thank today for some donations. Don't think so as of yet. Appreciate you all watching, guys. Thanks for being here. Whatever platform it is that you've been watching on, I appreciate you. We're doing the Rockfin, the Rumble, and the YouTube. I really am going to try and add another destination or two in the next week or two. So there are other destinations for other platforms for you to watch on. I realize that not all of these platforms are none of them are all truly free. Rockfin is for its problems, Rockfin is pretty great. There's no ads, and you really can just say whatever you want. Rumble seems to be pretty free, although they do some censorship. But I'm trying to steer people more towards the platforms that are at least less censorious. Right? Instead of the ones that are ultra censorious. So YouTube being one of the ultra censorious ones. So I'd like to have backups so that we can continue having free conversations here. All of America's nuclear reactors have expired. There's a price to pay for that. Yeah, sure. You think it is nuclear warming? We are living in it. Well, Hillary and Kamala still out there. Yes, they're still out there. Still out there, doing stuff. Yeah, Hunter Biden and Burisma about all the proof you need. Yeah, for the money laundering. Yeah, absolutely. Well, not to mention all the money that they were sending to Ukraine, and a lot of it wasn't making it. It's like in Iraq, or remember the pallets of money that were supposedly paid to Iran, around in Obama's administration regarding the nuclear their deal that they had with Iran at the time, right? Then there was reports of pallets of money, and then there were pallets of money in Iraq that went missing. A lot of money that was sent to Ukraine didn't actually make it there. A lot of this, weapons and money didn't make it to the proper places. Wonder where it went. That's just money laundering operations. Oh, cool. Thanks. I appreciate it, Denver. Thanks, man. Yeah, and so if you spend $500 million on a campaign on your campaign staff, when Trump spent 10, it's got to, if you don't scratch your head on that one, I don't know. But where did that money go? I mean, you can account for so many things, but after a while, it's just wait a minute, no. But a lot of things are money laundering operations. So many things are money laundering operations. So there's that. Well, Delene, the nuclear warming, on the subject of nuclear warming, you remember that they were, back in the day, they used to explode nuclear weapons in the stratosphere. in the ionosphere, just, as we're doing tests and stuff, a lot of people think that our problems are, stem back from those particular moments in time when we were shredding the atmosphere with the nuclear weapons. I mean, it's not the problem, it might not be the problem. It could be part of the problem, definitely part of the problem. I also find it funny that there's an attempt to rehabilitate nuclear energy right now. There seems to be a big, number one being it's clean energy. It ain't clean. There's nothing clean about nuclear energy. Again, it's like saying that electric cars are clean. They're not clean. There's just not smoke coming out of a tailpipe. But the actual process of making the car and driving the car and producing electricity are absolutely dirty. Absolutely dirty. So there's nothing clean about an electric car. There's nothing clean about nuclear energy, right? There's a lot of dirt, a lot of dirty stuff that goes into making nuclear power, not to mention where do you put the fuel rods, etc. Yeah, that's what destroyed the ozone layer, says Bella, talking about the nuclear weapons in space or in the atmosphere. Ozone is missing for a reason. Yeah, I mean, what if, that's a really good point. Like, what if the whole thing about the fluorocarbons was, I mean, I guess we could assume that that's good science, but what if that was just a mask for, what if that whole problem was just created to mask the fact that, we exploded weapons in the atmosphere just for the hell of it, just to see what would happen, right? And we just destroyed the ozone layer, and they're like, well, we can't let people know that we did that. What are we going to do? Fluorocarbons, that's what. And we'll make a Montreal Protocol. Do you think that maybe that was it's not carbon neutral? No. Oliver Stone was pushing nuclear hard. I know. There's a thing about, remember the guy that used to watch this channel that used to harass me about how nuclear energy was totally safe? And that was just, yeah, it's fine. I was always like, what is this thing, this kick that people are on? No, nuclear energy is great. All the nuclear reactors, as Delene said, are all, past their functioning, date, their expiration date. And they just keep renewing the licenses until they're going to fall apart, and they can't afford to, replace them all. Meanwhile, they're building new power plants, which is absolutely bonkers. Who knows? All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, very much. I don't know what I think I'm doing a vodka. Not sure what voice that is. Denver says, take a look at some of the Manhattan Project sites today. Hanford, Washington, for example, the waste there. Oh, yeah. Yep. Hanford, Washington is horrible. Waste there is rotting through barrels, leaking, and it's next to a river. Yep. Oh, don't forget the nuclear waste site in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, right? The atolls. They just like concreted over this island and put some nuclear waste there and put concrete over it. But the sea levels are rising, and they're eating away at this little concrete, I don't know what you want to call it, concrete capsule they put over it, and then all this stuff is just going to leak into the ocean. It's going to be great. Not to mention the barrels of DDT and nuclear waste in the ocean that they just threw out off of the end of boats, and they said that's how you get rid of that. There was a woman who would call in every once in a while to say it wasn't so bad. Yeah. Every rocket launch destroys more stratospheric ozone than an 80s hair metal band. Yeah. And somebody was talking about the other day, like, what all these rocket launches from Starlink, and what's that doing to the atmosphere? You're going to burn the ozone up, trying to get us to another planet that doesn't have an ozone layer. Makes sense. All right, guys, thanks so much. Appreciate you. See you tomorrow, and peace out.